Good morning.
Good morning, Elmore. Thank you for having me here.
You're welcome. Thank you for being here. Thank you for coming to talk about the money that was allocated to Los Angeles. Tell us a little bit more about that. Where did it come from specifically?
Well, first of all, my name's Pamela Crenshaw. I live at the Gower Street Apartments.
And I do too. I'm right here behind us.
Absolutely. And so, as advocates, you know, we're fighting for that money to be allocated for this building that was signed by Mayor Bass. I confirmed with her last Thursday that the money was in fact allotted for the Gower Street project and for Inside Safe. Inside Safe is a program where they take people off the street and put them in hotels and just trying to, you know, get them permanent housing. However, the $3 million, I don't know when it's going to be. I don't know when the check's coming. I don't know to ACOF.
Where would it go?
It would go probably to ACOF because ACOF hired Barker Management to manage the place, and obviously.
What, this building?
Yeah, they're slumlords. So Barker Management gets their money from a community of friends, which we call ACOF. And so they give them a certain amount of money. For instance, we were supposed to get new washing machines, and we got some broken down refurbished ones. So I don't know if that was because of ACOF or because of Barker. You know, there's a possibility that they pocket the money and want to get off cheap. So I'm doing some research this year as to how much money they're giving Barker, because Barker seems to be letting this building get quite bad. The walls are filthy, there's rats, there's bugs, there's people living
What are
in
the big problems with this building?
Well, we don't have
this is the Gower Street Apartments.
Right.
Right, and which was allocated $3 million specifically, correct?
Right.
From the amount from Congress?
Yes, absolutely.
What are the big problems that
there's a lot. I mean, there's just systemic corruption. First of all, our elevator breaks down quite often. We have handicapped people on the second, third, and fourth floor. We have 2 laundry facilities on the second, third floor, and handicapped people have to go up the stairs. It's very difficult for some to get when the elevator's not working. And they've been breaking down for I've been here 16 years, and they've had a problem with it for 16 years. So, since I moved in here in 2008 in June, it'll be 16 years, I've watched this building go downhill up to the first few years. We had qualified case manager, we had qualified manager, and now it's come down to the point where we have no case manager. We have a supervisor sitting in, but she's not a case manager. And then we have a manager who, I don't know, you need to get someone else in here that knows how to do their job.
A manager in the management office or in services?
Both.
Both? Okay.
Both. We have 54 units here, well 55 including the manager, but we have 54 when it's in full capacity. And our case manager was coming in maybe 3 days a week, but mostly 2 days a week. Mm-hmm. And there was one counselor for 54 people. It should be against the law, it's a crime.
I've been here 2 years, as you know, and the elevator has broken down constantly, and we went periods of 3 months without an elevator.
Wow, this is so messed up that this thing is. Oh boy, you always have to go up these stairs. Oh, this is not easy. I'm so tired of this.
Before COVID, I was fighting for ramps in the building. A community of friends lied to the lawyer that I was working with through inner city law and said that they had handicap ramps. They don't. And in fact, her name was Siri, and Siri told them, she goes, well, I took pictures of this entire building and I don't see any handicap ramps. So they kind of stuck their foot in their mouth lying again.
Yeah.
And we are in dire need. It's a mental health building for some. Some don't come in here in mental health. But if you do have that, and you do have physically handicapped, which we have several tenants, including myself, that's physically handicapped, and yourself.
And disability.
Yeah, and disability. And we need access to an elevator at all times. The last 2 years has been the worst the elevator has been down.
Just for example, if you pay $4,000 to have someone come repair your elevator 3 times a month in a period of 6 months or longer, you paid $100,000, which you could have used probably to gut the thing and get a new elevator system for this building.
Absolutely. I mean, like I said, 16 years, like you said, went 3 months. And then the gate wasn't working. The security gate, the intercom wasn't working. So people would have to, handicapped people would have to struggle to get down the stairs just to go let the delivery guy in, and that's exhausting. You know, until I became handicapped, I didn't realize the struggles are so bad. And, you know, like you said, I'm sure they have spent thousands and thousands of dollars they could have put towards a new elevator. I have a recording from the elevator repairmen, the first ones that they had that came back year after, or day after day at sometimes. And I recorded them saying that it's just not one part. This whole elevator needs to be rebuilt. I have that video.
We've had a recent case of someone who got an apartment in this building who had a severe drug problem. And can you tell us a little bit about what happened to him?
Well, I know Michael came in using, I don't know how the management can not put them in rehab, but that's again, oh, we can't violate their rights. Well, what about our rights? But Michael was sent to rehab a couple times. I will say this about the case manager that just quit. He did try to help him get into a rehabilitation or drug rehab. And Michael would leave. And I tried talking with him. He actually was a nice person, but he was strung out on drugs in a severe way that anybody that would see him would know that he needs help. And they tried to help him, and he didn't stay because nothing's mandatory. LA's a lawless city. So he died. 2 weeks ago, I think it was, he died.
Yeah.
And that's really sad to see, because 2 years ago we had another guy taken out in a body bag. Many people have gone out in a body bag in this building.
And he had only been in that unit for how long?
Maybe 6 months?
No.
Not even that long, right? Maybe 3 months.
3 months.
Yeah, absolutely.
3 months, yeah.
Absolutely. And tenants are trying to help him with his dog. And, you know, it's really hard to be sober for 18 years and have to relive that tragic environment. You know, I left a tragic environment. I left a rough environment. I lived in Skid Row in a sober living. I know what it's like to be down there. And my only wish was, when I was down there and I got sober, was to get out of there. And I did. But I don't want to come in and be in an environment that's not conducive to my sobriety. Actually, I have 18 years today. And I don't want to live in that environment. But there's no senior buildings in a nice area. I have been offered senior buildings in a rough area. I'm not doing that.
The Housing First program seems to have some faults, because they have the idea, and I've heard this from case managers for services in another building I was in, harm reduction. The idea that just get someone into housing and that will reduce the harm. Well, the building that I was in, where I heard this, Skid Row Housing Trust building on 5th and Main, it had been remodeled, and in 1 year, 7 people who moved in with drug problems died from drug overdoses.
Yeah,
So the harm seemed to be increased, because now they have a place where they can use all the drugs they want, bring people off the street, bring other drug addicts and homeless people off the street, which made the building unsafe for everybody else. The harm, so this program, Housing First, what do you think about it?
I hate it. It wasn't well thought out. The people that think it works, do not live in it. So I literally went to a convention last week in Long Beach, Homeless California, LA, Homeless California 2024, and I got to go to several workshops, and I literally stood up and told them, your program doesn't work in LA. It has worked in other countries, and it has worked back east, because I've been kind of keeping up with it. I went to the National Alliance to End Homelessness in 2019 and learned a little bit about what was to come, the harm reduction. And I come from an abstinence-based program. I had to drug test every week to get in here, and I had to be accountable for my behavior, which, I don't know, this seems to be a new society of drug addicts with the trash and the meth and the fentanyl, and people are dying, like you said. They're just dropping dead left and right. But you know, you have to think about it as a business. If they got rid of homelessness, they, meaning the city and the state of California, where are they going to ask for the money? What are they going to ask for?
Politicians
Billions.
stand to benefit from this, and they can
Absolutely.
run on. They run on platforms for helping people in need, and so you know, you take that away, then they have nothing. They have nothing to run on.
Nothing's mandatory. So if you have a mentally ill person that's on methamphetamines or fentanyl, and they attack you in the street, are you going to call a psychiatrist, or are you going to call the police?
Well, I know that in this building, the management has been attacked by tenants in this building. Has had her actual apartment doors smashed open by tenants in this building. I want to ask you about the roof. We've had a lot of rain this year and last year, and there is some units in this building that have mold. My unit has mold. What's the problem with the roof?
Well, the problem with the roof is it needs to be replaced. And 10 years ago, they moved people out, put them in a sleazy rat hotel, didn't give them any food vouchers. We actually had a case manager taking them food, and they finally ended up helping them a little bit, but they moved them out, and come to find out, when I went on the roof, and I've done it several times and taken pictures, all they did was put like a substance over it to patch the hole. I don't even know why they had to move them out. My ex-husband was a roofer. You didn't have to move them out for that. But I'm sure financially they benefited in some way. But now it's getting even worse, and it has puddles like over your apartment and over 401 on that end, and it's always been a problem. Now the rain is much more heavy than it used to be, and they're not doing anything.
How did the roof get damaged? Does it have something to do with the solar panels that are up there?
Well, the solar panels need to be removed. They're not, from my recollection of someone telling me that they don't work, or they were put up there faulty, and it's a lot of weight on the roof for something that's unnecessary. We also have air conditioning units there, and they refuse to give us central air, yet HUD doesn't want us to have air conditioning in the window, which I think is absolutely ridiculous, and it's inhumane, and it's a crime to make people live in their apartments when it gets to 110, 113 degrees here. It's much hotter in their apartments. So I think that's just, they treat us inhumane. The roof needs to be replaced.
I know that above my apartment, water collects. I've had to go up there and sweep water because the drain is right in the northeast corner of my apartment, and water collects there. Barker Management, what do you think is needed so that we can be sure that the $3 million will go to this building for the things that are needed in this building, and not to bureaucratic red tape to some management's pockets, or to reallocate it or misappropriate it somewhere else? What do you think is needed?
Well, I think, and I'm working with the mayor on this. I asked her, how are we going to be sure that they utilize the money in what it's for and what you signed for. And I remember you sweeping. I'm just having flashbacks of watching you sweeping your the water off of your side of the building, and it's sad that a tenant has to do that. But we need to work on the roof, and I'm thinking maybe get some kind of advocacy group or a task force of some sort to a third party to monitor the money and to make a list of everything that needs to be repaired, like the stairs and the.
How is it that you're able to talk to the mayor? What are you on? What do you do? I know you're an advocate, but what are your specific roles as an advocate?
So I am a lived experience advocate. They devised this group out of a couple focus groups back in 2016, and then we became official in 2017 during the Measure H, Measure Triple H money. So they were able to. It's a volunteer position, but that's how we got in to see the mayor. We have a coordinator that's been with us about 3 years, and she's amazing. She worked for the city in the financial aspect, and now she's our coordinator, and she has taken this lived experience advisory board to a whole different level. Tomorrow we're meeting with, I think it's Supervisor Barger, which is under Supervisor Horvath's office, and they're teamed up with LASA to help make changes in our community, get people housed, and then now this new issue of allocating funds for older buildings that are being neglected, severely neglected. And Akoff and Barker keep saying they're broke. Well, I know they're not. They're just mismanaging or misallocating the money, like you said, because I've watched millions of dollars since Measure Triple H and Measure H in 2017. I've watched millions go for permanent supportive housing, and yet all I see is neglect, neglect, neglect. It's just not this building. I have advocate friends that are in other buildings, and they're owned by Acroft and a community friends.
Especially if they have 6 other projects in the works, Acroft, and the money being spent outside of its purpose and for the Gower Street apartments. This building needs every single penny of that money to go to the things that it needs.
Yes.
The stairs, the elevator, accessibility, the roof, and the mold. They need to mitigate the mold that's in people's units in this building. So if they do that, then the building will be in good shape.
Dora Gallo is the CEO of a Community of Friends. A Community of Friends is made up of a lot of investors. That's why they call it a Community of Friends.
A community of friends of the investors and not of the people living in the buildings. That's what I thought it meant.
It's a community of friends. So a lot of investors got together and shareholders, and I'm doing a little bit more research on that. I should have done it, but I've gone through 5 surgeries in the last few years, so my focus was on my health, and I'm getting better. So now I'm really going to dive deep into this advocacy and hold them accountable for the neglect in this building. And it's inhumane and it's a crime. And they don't care. I've literally told people, put your grandmother in this place or put your mother in this place.
They wouldn't.
No, you wouldn't do it. So would you want to let people who are human beings, who maybe had some problems in their life, because everybody has problems in their life. There's drunks in the Senate right now. They just didn't end up in Skid Row yet.
Well, thank you, Pam. That was very good. Thank you.
Thank you.